You got a rice cooker recently? It's so nice. I don't know. I always did just rice in a pot, but I do have a rice cooker if I need it. I don't know. I can cook well, and I cooked for myself for a long time because it was always more cost effective. But at some point, I worked so many hours that I was like, you know what? If I cook for myself and then eat and then have to clean after every day, I am losing so much time that I actually do not have. So I started going out and picking up food and bringing it back and eating. And, you know, food around me ain't that expensive. You know, it's not really like crazy. It's not sit down restaurant level pricing, you know, and I'm lucky to be in an urban environment where it's just cultural, where people do eat out more often. So the food is a little more economical. So it kind of made sense for me. And I just started doing that and cooking less often because just the time, I just couldn't afford the time. It's a little sad because I do like cooking, but having that time back has been so much better. I don't miss cooking enough to be like, yeah, I'm just going to spend all my time doing it. I don't know. Like being able to end stream and have ordered food show up to my door, or like walking outside and getting food within 10 minutes is goated. If I had to end stream, imagine this. I ate before stream. I finished stream. It's been 7.5 hours. I am dying and I want food. And I have to stop and cook. I'm going to start relying on stuff that cooks quickly and not cooking just the things that I really want to eat. I'm just going to start doing things that are a little more convenient, right? And I've been there. I've done that. I'm like, no. Like realistically, I just know how that's going to go. So I'll do it occasionally. I'm not saying I never cook, but you know, it's much better for me to just go outside and get food that is good for me by just walking to it. You know? What do you like cooking when you do have the time? Nothing. I just eat outside all the time now. Nothing. I don't know. Whatever I feel like eating, I can cook anything. Doesn't matter. I don't particularly like cooking any one thing. I just like cooking in general. I don't have anything where I'm like, this is my favorite thing to cook. If I like eating it, I like cooking it. Yeah, I like the convenience. Exactly. It's the best. You like crock pots? I like them, but I feel like there's just so many things that I like to make in them. So I'm not gonna... I remember talking about this a while back, talking about like going out to eat food or picking stuff up and eating it, which is usually what I do, rather than cooking. And someone was like, well, you could just set up a crock pot and at the beginning of stream and then eat whatever's in it at the end. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna eat chili every fucking day. Like, I know there are a lot of things you can cook in a crock pot, but I would get so fucking tired of it. And and then you still have to clean it. Yeah, they do suck to clean. You still have to clean them. And the whole point is that I'm saving myself the time. It doesn't matter if I can eat the food quicker. I still have to prep it and then clean it at the end. So all the time is still going, right? And that's the whole point of going out and grabbing food for me, is that I didn't have to cook any of that and I didn't have to clean any of that. Therefore, that time is back in my pocket and I can use it. So that's what kind of why I do it. I don't know. I like it. I also find that I end up with more food variety because the thing that makes it the hardest is if you are just cooking for yourself, for one person, and you're in the US, you can go out and buy food, bring it home, and cook it. Nothing is made for a single person. Nothing is packaged for one person to have good food variety. If you want to eat a big variety of things and be very healthy, I mean, they give you these numbers, these crazy numbers. They're like, yeah, you have to eat like 10 minimum unique vegetables and fruits throughout the week to really be getting everything, and that's minimum. They even then they're like, yeah, 10 different vegetables and 5 different fruits or whatever. There's a lot of research done that all suggests things that are so not possible as one person. Right? It's just like ridiculous. Yeah, 7 a day realistically if you're being like good about it. So if I go outside and I just buy something, now with the density around me, I can go out and buy so many different things. I can actually achieve somewhat close to that variety. It's actually possible. But if I go back to what I was doing, which is buying food that isn't $1 billion and buying the smallest package of it, it's still like enough for you to cook the same thing for 3 days usually, you know? It's just so not feasible. And maybe it is if you freeze everything. I've been there, I've done that, and I've really like stretched it out and tried to add the most variety, but it limits you in how you can then cook those things. So I don't know. I've tried it and it just doesn't work out well. So I feel like for variety's sake, you're actually so much better off going out and buying stuff to eat that was prepped by somebody else. Because I don't know, the variety's just easier to keep up with. I think it makes sense for me. Buying food in bulk also goes bad fast for just one person. Yeah, and well, Yes and no. If you get really good with knowing how to freeze things well, you can really stretch stuff. And that's what I did. I just had my freezer kind of packed, and I would buy food, bring it home, immediately open it and separate it out into different tiny packages, like single portion something, and then freeze it, you know? And I would do that. And then when I wanted to cook, I would pull out whatever I was going to cook the day before from the freezer and throw it into the fridge, and it would slowly thaw in there. And then it would be ready for me that next day to finally cook it. And I was able to make that work, but it was such a process, you know? And it required a lot of like actual thought and planning. But the kind of work I was doing before, I was using up so much mental energy that I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I need to make other stuff in my life pure easy mode because my brain is so cooked at the end of work. Also, I was working constantly. I wasn't just like 9 to 5 and then I'm done. I woke up, I checked emails. I was about to go to sleep. I was probably checking emails before I was going to sleep. You know, like everything was just constant. So I don't know. There was just no point in me trying to cook and trying to think about it. I gave up. And everything's been so much better since. So much better. I don't know. I think when I cook now, it's usually I eat things for a couple days and I have small bits of leftovers and I find stuff to do with them. That's most of the cooking I do nowadays, rather than doing something fresh. And you get real creative with that, but that's how I usually do it. Your family bulk made quinoa and pesto in the frozen. It works well. Oh, pesto is the best frozen. You know what I used to do? I used to make pesto and freeze it in an ice cube tray. I would freeze it in an ice cube tray and wrap that. So you just pull out an ice cube portioned thing of pesto and use it. Oh, it was the best. It was the best. You could do that with herbs too. Just separate them out like that. Actually, freezing herbs is one of the best things you can do. Buying fresh herbs and freezing them. When you thaw them and use them, they're so close to fresh. It's really good. Really, really good. So I'd have like all these baggies of, it looked so sus in my freezer, but all these baggies of fresh herbs that I chopped and left in there. That was the best. The best. Even just freezing basil, right? Like let's say you want to start a little herb garden and you start growing some basil and you've never done it before. You'll quickly realize that you have to harvest a fuck ton of basil and you're never going to eat all of that. And you're like, shit, what do I do with it? You know what you do with it? You just freeze it. That's it. You pick it, wash it, dry it, pat it dry as fast as you can, immediately freeze it. Done. Done. And that shit will taste almost exactly the same. I think it actually does taste exactly the same. It's just maybe the texture that changes, not the flavor. But, you know, now you've got fresh herbs forever. Forever. You've got 4-year-old pesto in your freezer, still tastes fine somehow. Really, if you've got a cold freezer and that stuff is well sealed, you can actually do that shit, man. I'm telling you, the freezer is goated. Goated. Hi, Heavenly. Happy Father's Day. Your mom grew baby tomatoes, had to pick hundreds of them. Yeah, tomatoes are another like really high yield plant usually if you grow them on your own. You can also dry it. Oh, I love like drying and curing stuff. Yeah, used to do that when I had the time. Or pickling. I would pickle a lot of stuff. That's the best. Making a brine and just leaving that shit in your fridge, pickling. So nice. So nice. I don't know. I just don't have the time. And I technically could. I could have the time if I had no hobbies. If I had no hobbies and I never hung out with any friends, I never did anything off stream that was for recreation, then I could definitely afford the time. But no, no. When I have time outside of stream to finally do something, I'm just gonna play a video game and let my brain simmer, you know? Let my brain relax. That's all I'm gonna do. And like 90% of the time when I'm playing games off stream, I'm multitasking. I've got like stuff up on my other monitor that I'm doing really actively, and then I'm gaming on the side. And that's just how I do it. It's just I'm always multitasking. I wouldn't be able to be like, I'm gonna get into herb gardening again. It would make no sense for me. I could possibly do it, but I don't know. You want to farm garlic? Garlic is difficult. It's hard to tell when it's right for me. I always had trouble with it. You have hobbies to hang out with friends? I actually do have friends. That's the other thing. Wow. Who would have thought? Yeah, I do have IRL friends. I have people that I just get on the phone with. Some people that don't like live near me. I have family members that I just talk to, you know?